Hello, welcome back to another episode of Stray Thoughts. This time around, I'd like to contrast healing with integration and growth. The definition of healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. And if we've suffered an injury or we're suffering from an illness, healing is what we need to do. But it's my assertion that healing is not a lifestyle. It is an ongoing process. A lot of healing does take time, but there's the risk that we become identified with the healing process and one who is healing rather than recognizing that we are on course to heal and to become sound again in such a way that we can integrate the experiences and actually grow through them. And I know it's a subtle distinction, but I do think that the messages we send ourselves with the language we use shape or influence how we orient around these ideas and approach. And in terms of approach, I think it's more helpful to me to say, I'm going to give myself a period of time to do most of the work to be mostly healed, such that I can check in at a point and say, I feel healed, I feel sound, I feel at least ready enough to begin the next level of work, which keeps me in this forward momentum. I'm moving towards something. Now, if I don't feel that I'm up to progressing, it gives me a reference point, and I can give myself an extension and say, look, the point was to come to this juncture, evaluate where I'm up to realistically, and determine whether or not I am ready to begin integrating the experience and growing through it. So it's not required that we absolutely adhere to a certain time limit. It's that we approach it as though it is a finite exercise. There's an objective, and we're moving to reach that objective. And when we do, we can really know that we are sound and healthy enough to take on the next level. The benefit I find in this is it helps me to prevent the natural tendency to become identified with my struggle. It's altogether too easy to say, I am sick, or I'm disabled, or I'm mentally ill, or whatever it might be, in the way that it sounds as though that is what I am on the whole. And people will say, I'm a this, I'm that, I'm a cancer survivor, um, you know, uh, I'm bipolar, I'm anorexic, I'm, whatever it might be, I'm chronically ill. And it's, again, it sounds like it's just semantics, but we are sort of conflating who we are, what we are, with the struggle at hand, and limiting ourselves and investing ourselves in something that I would think we'd rather move past toward greater health and capability in life. So I frequently remind myself that I'm not disabled. I'm dealing with certain disabilities. As it happens, I do. I have some neurological conditions which are very disruptive to my life, and yet you can know me for years and not necessarily realize that I suffer from these disabilities. And if you're wondering, it's a Chiari malformation and a circadian rhythm disorder, and maybe sometime I'll talk about them if you're interested. It's just it's a structural anomaly in my cerebellum, and an issue with my biological clock, which means that I don't have normal sleep-wake rhythms. My body temperature can fluctuate at odd times of day. My appetite is not on when it should be, but it is when it shouldn't. It's a number of things. And I've just kind of learned to adapt to it and say, this is the hand I was dealt. How can I best play it? And there are days it gets to me. I'm a mere mortal. I can't pretend it doesn't wear me down or frustrate me. And I've, I have had to fight against being identified with it at times that maybe it benefited me because I don't want to lose myself to that. And I think that's the point I'm making is we talk about healing and I think we get lost in the sauce with that one. I think it becomes an identity and a lifestyle and it locks us into never really being fully healed. And I don't know if any of us can ever really be fully healed, but to the extent that integrating the experiences and growing through them becomes the work at hand. And we become the people who are capable of stepping up to do that. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish for myself. And it's what I wish for everyone else. It's no life to be bound to your most detrimental aspects like that. And there's so much possibility in saying that if I can move through this healing process, I can come to a place where I can really at least begin to integrate the experiences I've had through accepting what's happened and processing the emotions and finding in what ways we gained wisdom or strength through our experiences, finding ways to apply that. Going back to an earlier discussion of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's pretty much the top of it, where we become whole people and we integrate our strengths and our experiences and we find our purpose and we live it. And I think that we limit our purpose and we weaken ourselves and we do get a little bit lost in our own thinking about our our challenges in life because it's how we talk about it and in some ways it's rewarded and it's probably better to do without that prize when pushing forward and setting healing as an objective and growth and integration as the lifestyle practice that follows. uh, that that just allows for so much more possibility, and I'm always looking for what provides for greater possibility. And so I thought I'd share my thoughts on this, and as always, I thank you for coming through, and I look forward to seeing you in the next round. All the best.